my sidekick, not psychic. Lynn only won't be on the show today. She has an ear infection. So hopefully she'll be all better very shortly. It's kind of a good time to nest, I guess. So today I have two friends from Arden Courts, Tracie Schumm and Paige
Escamilla.
You guys know how I love Arden Courts, and we're going to have a conversation in a couple of minutes. But the first thing I want to do is give a shout out to our newest listeners. So we have Trina in Clearwater, we have Jules in Largo, and we have Margie in Dunedin. So welcome, caregivers. Like I say, there's always plenty of room around the Connecting Caregiver table for more listeners, whether you listen to us when we're live on the radio or on YouTube or Facebook or my website or wherever they'll take us. I just want to bring you help and hope and resources. If at any time you have a question about anything, you can email me through my website, lindaburhans.com. If I don't know the answer, I will find someone that has the answer for you. Because we're very blessed to be in this Tampa Bay community where our senior professionals want to work together and want to do the right thing. Nobody's ever going to leave you flat. And it's not the same because I've gone and spoken in other states and they're like, oh, don't talk to her. I'm like, oh, come on. Like my friend says, there's plenty of juice in the orange for all of us. So I'm really glad that you ladies are here today. I've had a relationship with Arden Courts for over 10 years. When my book came out, they gave me one of my first opportunities. One of the things I love most about Arden Courts is most of the employees, except Tracie, have been there for quite a while. She's a new girl on the block.
She is.
The baby.
But, when you go from people that are working in maintenance all the way up to the executive director, and there are people there 10, 15, 20 years, it makes a difference. Because when you move your loved one into a community, this is their home. And do I want to feel like I got strangers in my home all the people that have been there? And what I love about Arden Courts is every Arden Courts is the same. There's like 53 Arden Courts or something. And I had somebody move their loved one from Arden Courts in Ohio to Arden Courts Largo, and the guy didn't even know he moved because the building is exactly the same. Everything is exactly, and I just think that's so cool.
It's a great design.
Yeah, it's really a great design.
They did 5 years of research.
Come closer.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, they did 5 years of research with Johns Hopkins. They had psychiatrists and physicians and nurses. So that's how they came up with that design of the building. And people don't realize this. There's never a dead end in an Arden Courts.
Right.
You hit the end of a hallway, there's a door. They can go outside that door anytime.
And that's what, so especially when COVID came, all of a sudden communities go, we have memory care. It's on the 3rd floor. We just lock them up there. Nobody was trained for memory care.
No.
And who wants to be locked up somewhere?
Right.
Especially people with Alzheimer's and dementia. They like to move. A lot of them like to move. And if they have the opportunity to be able to go outside in those beautiful gardens. And I don't know which Arden Courts it was, but recently one of them, there was this guy and all he wanted to do was blow leaves. So they bought him a leaf blower. So he would go out and blow leaves in the garden.
Was that us or Palm Harbor?
Is it Palm Harbor?
I think it was Palm Harbor did it. Yeah, they did it. They got him a blower. And that's what we do every day.
Yeah.
And that's it. I think because we're all certified dementia trainer, we have a long experience with dementia. We're aware of, a lot of places, the first thing is medicate, which a lot of time it's no, let's find a Montessori.
Yeah.
And if you have good caregivers that can identify them when they're aggravated and find an appropriate Montessori, task for them to do, whether it's putting a baby in a dress or blowing the leaves, or maybe they're running.
Everybody wants some sense of purpose.
Something, right?
Everybody.
Yeah.
I had this woman who was in my support group, and she said to me, my mother just follows me around the house all day, Linda. If she would just sit down for an hour or two. So I said, can I meet your mother? So I go over and I meet her mother, and her mother used to be a school teacher. She's 92 years old now. So first we talked about how the teachers don't get paid enough money. And then we talked about some of those rotten kids today. But then what we tell her is the teachers need your help. And every Monday morning we give her a big piece of poster board and magazines. And we say next week they're going to teach the kids about flowers. So we need you to cut all the flowers out of this magazine and glue it on this poster board. And there can't be any white spots. And it takes her mother 2 hours a day, 5 days a week to finish it. And she actually started bringing it to school. And then the kids started writing thank you notes.
Yeah. Oh.
So,
Beautiful.
I had another woman who was a banker. So we give her a big jar like this with coins. And the girls at the bank really need help with rolling those coins. She doesn't even know they have machines today, And and she rolls all those coins. And her daughter tells her when she goes to bed, I'm going to bring them to the bank, and she dumps them out, and we start over the next day.
Right.
But she was a banker, so it's some relation to her. We have to try to be in tune with who we're working with.
You have to know that's part, like when you come and you tour Arden Courts, we probably spend a good 10 minutes just talking about who are they, like who's their mother, who's their father, who are their kids, like what are these big things they love to do, or what was a big part in their life that changed them as a person.
Yeah.
And we get all this info because you're right. We need to know, like we had to start a CEO group because we have these high functioning Harvard, MIT. I mean, they're smarter than Paige and I.
We got
don't
Jesse
know.
Brown doing the QR code, right, about them?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Yes.
It's amazing.
She's absolutely fabulous.
Adorable. And she's a caregiver too.
Yeah.
So she gets
her dad
it.
passed away.
Mm-hmm.
But I have one of those things for me.
That's
yeah, because what
amazing.
happens if I get in a car accident tomorrow?
Right.
I want you to know what I want.
We don't know who you are.
You're a
superstar, Linda.
They'll just bring me to the circus or something.
I want a QR code now that you say it. Now I'm gonna call her.
Yeah,
She told
isn't
me
it
the other
kinda
day.
cool?
It is. It's awesome. We should all, if you think about it, seniors in general, and I come from Fire and EMS. That was my background. But if you get in an accident, they know nothing about your history, so to have something that they can scan, because a lot of them don't know how to use the iPhones. They're as old as we are. They don't know how to do that thing.
Right.
But you're right. If you have something in the car, they can
QR
it could
code.
save your
Well,
life.
especially for the EMTs. So if they go on this QR code and it says, "This is Fred. Fred was in the Super Bowl." Well, then they can have something to talk to him about.
Right.
Because I think many times they want to have a conversation, they just don't know what to talk about.
It's so true.
And then Fred feels so much better. Oh yeah, I'm the Super Bowl guy, you know.
Yeah.
Or or Fred has 3 dogs, or whatever.
Right.
And what Jessie Brown also did was, when her dad was still coherent, she went through foods with him, and she said, "Chocolate ice cream?" He said, "No." "Strawberry?" "Yes." "Well, isn't it good to know that?"
Yes.
And she said, "If you're going to put my dad in front of a TV, just put on sports. If you put on sports, he's good. He was in sports his whole life. But if you don't know that,
You don't know it.
and you wonder why he's being cranky."
Mm-hmm. It's so true. It's so true. And another big thing too is, do they like a hug? Because on a bad day,
Touch
a
them.
hug will help, unless they hate a hug. So it's always good. Do they like a hug? Give them a hug.
Who doesn't
You
want to
know?
be touched? And even with caregivers at home, I find they're not hugging mom.
Right.
I want them to sit down and look mom in the eyes. I want them to touch mom's arm. I
Right.
want them to talk.
Contact.
Because what's the most important thing? Not pooping and peeing and everything else.
That's love.
You hear me, Sky?
She wants a la la la. We all do.
Fine, take me to the theater. Just take me to the theater. I'm a happy girl.
Put me in the front row. Get me a boa.
But
There you
it's
go.
true. Many times people say to me, "Oh, well, mom can't do this anymore. Or she can't do that." How do you think she feels? I was sitting in my recliner a couple of weeks ago, I'm reading a book, having a little glass of wine, chilling, feeling fabulous. And all of a sudden I thought, what if somebody had to help me to the bathroom?
Mhm.
So you don't know what people go through.
You don't.
So give us a little bit more about your background. You were an EMT, and then how did you get to Arden Courts?
Ironically, my mother-in-law was diagnosed with dementia, and so was her mother around the same time. My husband's also a paramedic. He really wanted to be closer to his mom and his grandmother, so we could just be a little bit more involved. We were in Orlando. So I moved here from England. I lived in Orlando. I worked for Orlando Fire Department. So HCA Hospital, I transferred out for them. So I was a physician provider relations for all of the HCAs
Wow.
in Pinellas County. That's how I started. And then just as we went through the dementia journey with my mother-in-law, and I dealt with dementia before with my mother, with her mother and her grandmother. So I'd seen it before. I'd never seen men manage dementia before. And when I tell you, I'm so proud of my husband and my brother-in-laws and my father. I mean, my mother-in-law was a nurse, and she had written down, I call it, it was amazing.
The
She had
Bible.
told them when it was time.
Yeah.
So they knew. And I mean, to watch those 3 men get together and follow her rule to the T and make sure everything was done the way I was
Because
so
they
inspired.
knew, because we had a conversation ahead of time
Yes,
of
they
what
had a
I
plan.
want and what I don't want.
Mhm.
We need
Mhm.
people don't want to talk about that. It's scary. It's creepy.
Right.
None of us are getting out alive.
We're not. And at some point, we
Nope.
have to be adults, right? So it's like Christmas had to change. Like, we can't all have Christmas with Nanny anymore.
Yeah.
And we all have to be okay with that, because it's not about us. It's about Nanny, you know?
What one of my caregivers' families did in Thanksgiving? They all got together and they decided every 3 days somebody's going to go to mom's house and spend the day with her from
That's
Thanksgiving
awesome.
to Christmas.
Yeah.
So one day the two nieces came. They had a nice lunch or whatever. Another day somebody else came, and it made it easier for everybody.
Right.
And lots of times they'll say, "Oh, I don't know what to talk to her about." Make a memory box. So if grandma was born in Brooklyn, print out some pictures of Brooklyn. You can do it so easy. If she was a Girl Scout leader, print out some pictures of Girl Scouts and put her troop number. My troop number is 1410 in case anybody needs to know.
No, that's a great idea.
But
It really
you pick it
is.
up and you go, I didn't know you were a Girl Scout leader.
No, it is. It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what got me here.
'Cause
And I
everybody's
worked
got a
for
story.
Arden
And
Courts.
how do you get here?
So I actually moved from Arizona to Florida right around the time my daughter was going to be born. So I took a year off during COVID, and I applied for the position because I have in a skilled facility where I got my nursing license. We had a dementia unit. And so I loved that dementia unit. All the girls were like, oh, no, that's not really my jam, and I was like, I'll take that every day. So they called it a lockdown unit, because it's in a skilled setting. So it's a little bit different or something similar to being on the third floor. Like they didn't get to go outside or have free reign of their facility. They were set in one little unit with 8 rooms, and that was it. So it's definitely different. I've never experienced an ALF prior to coming to here because in my small hometown there was 2 long-term care facilities, and that was it. So my first job in ALF was coming here and being in Arden Courts. I interviewed with them and they hired me on the spot, and I've been there ever since. I left to go back home for about a year when I had my son. And I called the facility one day and was like, hey, I'm moving back. Like, do you have a position? And they were like, you have to come back.
Down.
Yeah, they were come back, So I took that day shift position, and they were still looking for an RSC or DON at the time. And so I was like, no, I have 2 young kids. Like, it's a lot of responsibility. I want you guys to find somebody that's good and has the time for it, And they were like, no, there is nobody
you have
else.
The heart for it.
Yeah, exactly. And they were like, you fit our team. Like, you have to take the position. And I was like, all right, so they've been my family. I mean, our entire building is such like a family orientated that I would say I lean probably more on, our executive director, Dia, Tracie, and, my nurses are fantastic. I mean, they treat my kids like their own. They've picked them up from school for me if I've had to work late, and so when you have that family dynamic, I think it changes the care that you provide.
Yeah.
And so I think that really goes hand in hand.
The training.
Exactly.
The
right.
training.
Because we as managers care, so we as managers care for us to make sure that our staff are, doing the correct training, upping on their Alzheimer's training once a year.
They don't know what they don't know.
Right, exactly. Or leading by example. I'll be down giving showers in my heels any day. I don't care, because if you lead by example, they want to follow, especially when it's something that has heart. So I think that that's important.
It's true. Across the board with our leadership, we are all servant leaders. I mean, you could come in the facility and we're in the back, like working with the caregivers. Yeah. It's just the way that we manage.
That's what it should be.
It should be, yeah.
It has to be.
Have you girls heard of Samaritan's Feet? So Samaritan's Feet, this guy many years ago lived in some farm country, I don't know where, and he never had a pair of shoes. And some man from the United States came to visit and gave him a pair of shoes when he was 7 years old. And that changed this kid's life. And he came to the United States and he made a lot of money. And then he went back to his country and the kids still didn't have shoes. So he got shoes for all the kids. He supplies shoes for all the kids. And now he started a couple of years ago supplying shoes for seniors.
Okay.
So we gave 250 pairs of shoes out about a month or so ago.
Oh, wow.
And these people came in slippers that didn't have a pair of shoes.
Oh,
No one has washed their feet or helped them. And it was such an inspiring thing. My back was killing me after doing it all. But to see a lady in these raggy slippers all of a sudden have a pair of shoes and stand up taller, So we have to take care of our seniors. Mm-hmm. They took care of us.
Right.
And people don't remember that.
Yeah, no, you're right. The first thing we can do is advocate. Like everybody, the first thing you can do is advocate.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to come to the question. This is the question I get in the support groups all the time. When is it time? When is it time? Nobody wants to talk about when it's time. And my response to them usually is when you're not safe anymore, because you can't watch somebody 24/7 by yourself.
Right.
Or when you're ready to jump off the bridge. And I do find, though, that when someone does make the decision, usually it's their issue. It's not the loved one's issue. The
Right.
loved one goes to the place, starts getting comfortable. They're good there. I come to visit, and he goes, I'm playing a game now. I'll see you later.
Yeah.
And now I go home alone.
Yeah.
I go home alone.
It's like when we have move-ins, Paige will tell everybody it takes 2 weeks to a month to acclimate. And when she's telling the families that, half of it is for the loved ones, not because it's very hard because you're coming to see them and in your mind they miss you or they miss you.
Yeah.
And then you get there and they're sitting there and they're hanging out in the community room having a great time. And now they're heartbroken because that isn't what they had anticipated. As they're happy, but they're still kind of heartbroken, you know?
Yeah.
But I mean, for me, the question is, you know, when is it time? I think it's when you look at your call log and you see people aren't calling you anymore because you don't ever reach out to anyone because you're busy, and you look in the mirror and you're questioning
You're like,
how
who
you
am I?
look. And I think that for me is a good, how you should know that it's starting to become time is when you've lost your social circle. And that's when we're always saying, come to a peer support group so we can rebuild your social circle because you need girlfriends, you need friends, you know, to get through this.
And I find when I do my support groups, so the people come back after their loved one dies because they want to help too. And it's not a grief support group, though. It's a caregiver support group. So what I've done is I started a mentor program. So if your husband died of Parkinson's and you just came in the group and your husband has Parkinson's, she mentors her during the month and between the support group. And
That's
they get to
awesome.
be friendly. So it gives the woman whose husband passed away a new sense of purpose.
Right.
Yeah.
And it lets the other woman know that she's not alone. Because I see them. I'll say to them, exchange numbers. Please, ladies, have lunch together. And I try to, like, every 6 to 8 weeks, have a caregiver luncheon where we just all get together.
Yeah, they need it.
And just chat, you know.
They need it.
Yeah.
100% they need it. Yeah, definitely. Just like they needed the peer support group and everything's, they need it.
Well, they're
on the
lost.
back end.
And you know what? And then after their loved one dies, I find out many of them, they don't have any papers for themselves. They had everything for their husband.
Yes.
Yeah.
But they haven't taken care of anything for themselves because they were just so involved in that.
It's true. It's true. Because they stop taking care of themselves. That person becomes their soul, you know.
Well,
Purpose.
you know, something I coined the AAA dilemma. So you go over to a caregiver and you go, Tracie, is there anything I can do to help you? And she goes, no, I'm okay.
Okay.
No, I'm good. Which is furthest from the truth.
Right.
Well, first of all, I think when you asked her that, she's thinking, oh, great. One more thing for me to think about. How can you help me? Like, are you going to bathe my mother or what are you going to do?
Right.
And what happens is if we keep saying no, 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 then they stop asking. And then they feel like maybe they're getting in your space. And then they stop coming. And then you're home at night crying, I have to do everything by myself. Well, you said no to everybody that wanted to help you. So I suggest to people to write down a list of some things you can accept help with. You're not the only one that can mow the lawn or go to Publix or just take your garbage cans in. And when you show that to your friends, they'll go, yeah, I'll take that one and that one.
Yeah.
One girl hung it on her bathroom mirror. When people were going to go to the bathroom, she felt embarrassed. And they're like, oh, I'll do that on Tuesdays.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
You know, just a simple little thing. And as much as you think you're the bomb caregiver and no one can do it like you, many times I promise you, your loved one is saying underneath their breath, could you go away for a while and get somebody else over here?
Right. Because you're the only person they see. You're right.
They're tired of it too. Well, there was this one woman and she said, oh, Linda, I've given up everything, but I don't want to give up going to church. I've given up everything. She couldn't take him because of his behavior. And so she said, I finally got the nerve to go over to my neighbor. He's Jewish. And I said, do you think you could hang out with my husband when I go to church on Sunday? He said, I would love to do that.
Oh.
She said, so that Sunday she ran to church and she ran home and she came home and they were playing dominoes. They said, we don't need you here. So now he gives her 3 hours every Sunday morning. And her husband gets to see somebody else. And the neighbor gets to see his friend.
Of course.
So win.
Yeah, it takes a village. It takes a village. But right now, we're going to hear from our wonderful partners because you know the deal. If you don't hear from them, you don't hear from me.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Arden Courts is not just a place to live. It's a place to call home. Residential living combined with quality caregiving. This is the philosophy behind Arden Courts. Communities created exclusively for individuals with Alzheimer's disease and related dementia who would benefit from a safe and structured environment. For additional information about any of the unique services Arden Courts provides, call 888-478-2410 to So locate a community nearest you. Inquire about our educational seminars, resource library, or support groups, or simply feel free to ask questions you may have about Alzheimer's and related dementias. At Arden Courts, we know, we understand, and we can help because memory care is all we do. Remember, call 888-478-2410 for additional information about any of the unique services Arden Courts provides.
Are you getting older, or are you taking care of somebody who is? You know, getting older creates new problems you probably never imagined. One of the big ones is, how do you pay for care? Care in your home, care in an assisted living facility, or care in a nursing home. Did you know that nursing home care in our community can cost up to $12,000 per month? For the last 33 years, our offices help families access benefits, including Medicaid, VA, and PACE, to help pay for the cost of long-term care. Regardless of what your assets are or what your income is, you can qualify for these benefits. Proper planning and guidance are absolutely necessary to avoid being wiped out. Let us help. If you are in care or heading in that direction, we can help solve that problem. Take action now to obtain benefits to pay for the cost of care. Here are the 4 things that you need to do. 1, get a new power of attorney. Your old one probably isn't good enough. Get a healthcare surrogate and a living will. 3, get an estate plan that will not disqualify you from benefits. And 4, get a plan to qualify for Medicaid, PACE, or VA benefits to pay for the long-term care costs. Call us today for a free consultation, 727-539-0181, or go to flmedicaid.com and download our free book on Medicaid and planning for long-term care. I'm Sean Scott. I'm here to help.
Guaranteed to make you laugh through your tears, Linda Burhan's book, Good Night and God Bless, is filled with humor and heartfelt inspiration to aid anyone facing the challenge of caring for a loved one at the end of life. Her story offers hope for human strength and understanding of weaknesses during a difficult time. Life doesn't normally prepare us to become a loved one's caregiver. When it happens, it's usually sudden. A diagnosis of an illness, age-related frailty, dementia, and life suddenly is anything but normal. And because we don't even know what we don't know, where do we turn to for help or guidance? In Connecting Caregivers, Answers to the Questions You Didn't Know You Needed to Ask, Linda offers information, education, and inspiration from her own experience and from experts whose advice, practical tools, and personal stories will empower and guide you. Make sure to add these inspiring books to your collection today. Available on Amazon.com.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
And we're back. So we're just talking about when it's time. And I was looking at some notes that we have here, and I think when it's time includes a lot of different things. When we're having trouble with medications, when we're having trouble keeping track of our loved ones, because we're stressed and we're overwhelmed. And the loved ones, most of the time, don't even know when they're supposed to take it or what they're supposed to take. I can remember when my husband was really sick, and the ambulance came to take him away. And they asked me what medication he was allergic to, and I told them what my mother was allergic to.
You're
and I'm a
stressed.
professional.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to have this stuff written down. You need help with it, because no matter who you are, it's a very stressful situation.
Of course.
It's a really stressful situation.
No, another one too is like the wandering and the falls.
Mm-hmm.
We see a lot of people
Safety.
after, where there's serious safety concerns, where we
Mhm.
probably should have seen them 2 years prior.
What about
Right.
that poor man in Largo? He's still missing.
I
Still
know.
missing. It's so, I keep sharing it too. And it's
Yeah,
so
still
sad.
missing. So he was someone that shouldn't have been left alone.
Mhm.
He could
Shouldn't
have
have been,
done.
and everybody says it. Well, he was okay before. Yeah, but that one day you're not okay anymore.
Right.
Mhm.
That one day you decide you're going to be adventurous. One of my caregivers, she took the keys from the car from her husband and everything. Oh, she went to the store. She came home. He got in the golf cart, and they had one of those screens that covered the whole door, and he whooped right through it.
The golf cart?
No.
So, you got to
Yeah.
be careful. Things you don't think of.
Right.
No, seriously. Yeah. And the other one too is like the weight loss and dehydration.
Yep.
So we'll see a lot of them where, it started off that they started having a hard time getting solid foods into them, and they kept trying and trying. And now by the time we'll see them, they're completely dehydrated. Now we've got to kind of start back over with them and get them eating again.
Right.
Well, that's what I'm saying too. If you're just coming to visit mom, and you don't get to come that often, hug her and touch her, because she'll have those baggy clothes on. You don't realize how much weight she lost until you hug her, and she might have some odor too, or something that you need to take care of, but you're not going to know that if you're not there. And if you're going to go visit your loved ones, surprise them.
Yeah.
Because if they know you're coming, they could, no matter what, they can kind of spit. I tell my kids, I go, if I ever get dementia, you're in big trouble. I know every trick in the book. But, they'll spiff things up, and you got to stay longer than 2 days.
Yeah.
Because anybody can fake it for 2 days.
Of course.
Kind of thing. And I always say, and talk to their neighbors.
Yeah.
I had one of my caregivers, she said, I went and because she could in my Zoom group. She said, I came to Florida to visit my mother, and I went and I talked to the neighbors, and the neighbors said, we were so worried when she went in the ambulance 2 weeks ago to the hospital. She never told nobody.
No.
So talk to the neighbors.
They are, though. They're little fibbers. Like, it's not like they're going to say, Linda, I'm not eating.
No.
Linda, I'm not using the bath. They're not. They're going to fake it till they
you
make
call
it.
on the phone, they tell you everything's great.
Oh, yeah. We're fantastic.
Yeah, and then your sister talks to them, and she goes, what's your problem? Mom's fine.
Right.
Yeah. I love that, where the family member pops up out of nowhere.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, no, they're great. What are you talking about? I just saw them. Yeah, that is a thing.
So I think that's another thing. Because when it gets to the point too that they're being very confused and stuff, they could burn the house down by accident. Or
and
something.
it's hard on them too to let a person get so agitated. It's like every day to get up and just slowly be agitated by your day. I mean, it's got to be a nightmare in itself.
Because nobody can do it themselves. When somebody comes into a support group, I'll be like, the first time, I'm like, welcome. How did you get here today? I yelled at my mother.
Yes.
And I decided it's time I need to come. Or my doctor told me I need a support group.
Right.
Kind of thing. Because none of us are invincible. And I see there's a woman that her husband moved into Arden Courts in Seminole. Maybe it's probably about 5 months ago now. She was a mess. A mess. She cried through the meetings in the beginning. And now she's like helping all the other girls. And she looks really good. And she said it was the best. Because she made that promise. I'll never. Don't make those promises.
Right.
Just true.
Yeah. Don't make those promises. And there are choices and bad choices. And that's why you want to go to the best communities.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely. They're not all equal. I mean, they're not all,
No.
And I'll tell everybody too, tour everywhere. Just tour, book one a week and start looking now. The minute the diagnosis comes in, book a tour a week and just start making a plan for yourself and learn how to identify the difference between these facilities, because there's two types of facilities. There's a facility that became a memory care because they want to keep census. 44% of residents in an ALF, they're going to get dementia. So they want to keep that 44%. We understand that. And then there's facilities like us where all we do is dementia. If you don't have dementia, Alzheimer's, some type of memory, cognition problem, you're not in our facility. It's just a whole different game. They do different things. I think that's what everyone needs to understand.
Yeah. Yeah. And the thing is too, I can't entertain mom all day long and make the food and clean the house, and take her to the doctors. Right. You got people there that are entertaining them. You got doctors that are coming in and seeing them. You got dentists that are coming in and seeing them.
Oh, yeah. We have 10 hours of activities a day. There's 2 of them in activities constantly stimulated. And then on top of the 10 hours of activities, they do the breakout groups.
Yeah. Who can do that at home? Nobody could do that.
No one could do that at home. It's all hands on deck. I mean, and the community has to communicate. So when they're at activities, they have to let my nurse Paige know, did they show up? Are they participating? Are they acting normal?
Sometimes I leave them in their room someplace.
Yeah, they don't want to go.
In their room all day. Right? Nobody bothers. It's like too much work to get them out of their room to bring them to an activity. So they just leave them. I had a woman come in a support group recently, and she told me that they went on a day trip somewhere, and because he's hard to manage with his walking, they didn't take him. They didn't take him. How unfair is that?
No, that's not cool. We do field trips too. We take everyone that wants to go. And sometimes a family member has to come give us a hand because, I call it, we're out in the wild, so sometimes we need extra hands. But everybody goes on our field trips. But that's sad. That's like being a kid and not being invited to a birthday party.
Right.
It's not right.
Yeah, how lonely.
Yeah, it's sad.
Yeah. But so we take all that into consideration. You can't do it all by yourself. Your loved one doesn't want to. I don't want my family looking at me and me seeing the pain in their eyes because they see me suffering. Right. Or because they're suffering trying to help me. that is the last thing that I want.
No, it is. It is. And, if you're having a hard time with it and just say you can't put them in a facility and you're not going to be able to, well, then let's explore daycare options.
Yeah.
Pinellas County, we're so lucky. We got so many great senior daycare centers.
Ruth's Promise is so fabulous.
Fantastic.
Right.
Top
We
notch.
have a couple
Network.
of our residents that
Goes
are
there.
with us that still, get transported every day to Ruth's Promise.
Well, I love
Fantastic
that Ruth's
program.
Promise because they give them a job there.
They
Mhm.
do.
So they
Mhm.
feel like they're, I remember one time they were doing like a back to school thing. So one person had the backpack and then the next one put the ruler in, the next
Right.
one put the notebook in, whatever. And they
course.
felt like they were contributing, and they were.
Of
Oh, they
course,
are.
They are.
They were.
Oh, yeah. They have, and they'll tell us when they're leaving what they're going to do today at work.
Mhm.
Yeah.
One of the ladies, she leaves, she said, I'm going to my other home now. It's just, they take such great care of
Well,
them.
and it's so important too with people with memory impairment is routine.
Yes.
And now if I'm home and I'm taking care of mom and I got some kids I got to get to school, and a husband I got to take care of, and maybe a dad too, who's ever in the mix.
Right.
It's going to be hard to have that everyday routine.
Mhm.
Where when you're in a community, there are people that run that all day long and have that routine. So the people in memory care, I think their behavior is much better when they're prepared. So they know every morning I'm going to wake up, this is going to happen.
Yes.
And then that's going to happen next, and that kind of thing. And I think that's so important because, I don't know, people just shy away from it. And I don't understand that.
Right.
I think some people feel if they go to a facility as a caregiver, they failed. And it's
And they've
just,
abandoned them.
I
Right.
think it's their own, and I'm Irish and Catholic, so I have guilt and everything. I parked the car out there, I'm guilty. It's crooked,
Yeah.
now I feel bad. So, the guilt does exist in some of us naturally. And I think a lot of it is guilt driven. But, and that's why I always tell people, go and see these facilities so you see what they're missing out on. It's not what you're missing out on.
And
it's
try
what
some
they're
respite care.
Yes, I love
Yes.
respite.
Try some respite care.
Do it.
So there was this one woman and she's like, oh, I would really like to try respite care. I said, so do it.
Do it.
But my husband's not going to da-da-da. So this is what we concocted this story and told her husband. She had to have lady surgery. He's like, go,
Mhm.
go.
Go.
But that's a good introduction for your loved one too, to see if maybe this would be good for them or not.
Of
Mhm.
course.
Oh, yeah.
So call up Arden Courts, go take a tour. If you want that wedding you want to go to, or your granddaughter's graduation or whatever it is, don't miss it.
Yeah.
Don't miss it.
Yeah,
I didn't
don't.
find out what respite care was till I was in my bereavement group.
Oh,
Do, 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 do.
no. Right.
And I wanted to go to this wedding really bad, and I couldn't go because I didn't know.
Right.
You
Yeah.
don't know.
You don't know
It's
what
a
you don't
great
know.
resource.
You don't know.
It is. Yeah. Trial
Well, and plus we
stays.
talk a lot more about it now than a few years back.
Mhm.
There's much
Right.
more
Oh, yeah.
conversation. It's on television. It's everywhere else. I did a recent analytics on my YouTube channel, and all my most recent listeners are all men from the ages of 40 to 70.
Wow.
And I thought, well, that's different. But then I thought there are more male caregivers today. And where do men get their information?
Mm-hmm.
YouTube.
Makes sense. Yeah.
YouTube.
It's very manly driven
Yeah.
YouTube. I didn't know that till recently.
Yeah.
I was reading a study on that.
I mean, really. Well, when my other grandson, he comes over with his friends, I go, take your phone out, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and watch some of those videos because you boys are going to be taking care of me someday.
Mhm.
And they're like,
That's true.
But then I met Josh in the supermarket, and he said, Grandma, I thought that your YouTube channel was kind of ridiculous. He said, but I went and I looked at it, and I showed it to my grandpa, and it's going to help him with my grandma.
Oh.
Ah, you
Okay.
That's
see.
amazing. Right.
Because we need to talk about it, too. Don't you find that's another thing, too? People
Oh.
don't want to talk about it. Like, if you don't talk about it, it's not happening.
Right.
It's so true, right?
Mhm.
We hear stories.
And they don't want to tell their children.
Mm-mm.
So I had a caregiver who her grandkids were very involved with her husband. They do hunting and fishing and all sorts of things. And he had Alzheimer's, and her children didn't want to tell their children. Who
Mm.
knows why, but they didn't want to tell their children.
Right.
And one day they're over the house, and she finds the one grandson behind the garage crying. And she's like, what's the matter? And he said, every time I come over here, Grandpa yells at me. Everything I do is wrong.
Mm.
I don't understand why he's so mad at me. Like, I'm not doing anything different than I ever did before. So his grandmother say, well, Grandpa has a disease, and your parents are going to tell you all about it tonight.
Mhm.
And she called the kids, said, I'm done. You need to tell them.
Right.
Well, the next day, he came over to see his grandpa. He just went and hugged him because he knew his grandpa wasn't mad at him.
Right.
His grandpa has a disease.
Right.
Yeah.
kids are much more understanding than we are many times.
No, it's true. And you got a solid point is there's so many books. Like there's like, you've got, how many books do you have now?
2.
You've got 2 books. I mean, there's just so many books. And when you write these books, you write them so that they can read a little bit at a time.
Yep.
I know when you write your book, you do that. Because when I read it, I'm like, oh, she's smart. So as you write it so they can have little bits at a time and they're taking it all in. And then when you're done with the book, you have that extra knowledge, and they even have books that you can read. Grandpa has dementia.
Yes.
I think you
I've had a lot of
a
authors
picture
on the
book, a
show.
children's book.
I've got like 10 of them in my
Amazing.
office. If anyone needs it, come get it. If
Yeah.
anyone wants a Linda Burhan's book, come get it. Because the books, if you go into a support group and then you get a book and you learn more about it, it helps you and your mind process what's going
And
on.
you know that you're just not the
understand.
only one.
Right.
You're
You're
not.
not the only, I one part in the book I wrote, my mother follows me everywhere. Now I know why people call their dog Shadow.
Mhm.
Because I never had that feeling before and I
Right.
didn't know, whatever. And that she was just insecure, because I didn't find out. My mother had stage 4 colon cancer. So that's what we dealt with. And my mother also had dementia though. But I didn't know she was being goofy like I am.
Right.
So she wanted to try the chemo. We didn't think it was a good idea, but she wanted to. And after we did 2 rounds, she was just out like a light. And we're like, we're not doing this anymore. Well, the dementia served her very well because she told everyone she was cured. Now, I don't know if she thought she was cured, she wanted to be cured, or she wanted everybody to think she was cured. But we had a fabulous 18 months. I was with her every day, except one day I went to jury duty. They wouldn't let me bring her. But what a privilege
Right.
that I had that time with her and that I had that time to spend with her and share. And then she got really sick and I moved into Freedom Square with her. She lived in independent living. And I tucked her into bed one night and she said to me, "Good night and God bless," which she said to me my whole life. And I thought it was going to be the last time. And I prayed in her living room that night, "God, just please give me a little bit longer. I'm not ready." And she looked good the next morning. So I started writing my book, Good Night and God Bless. And I wrote through the last 3 weeks of her life and my grieving process. And then I reconstructed our adventures from the year before. And the book was published right away. And when I went out to promote it, every time people came up to me crying. And that was 5,000 support groups.
Because so
workshops.
many people could identify
Yeah.
with your story.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It was just unbelievable how things worked and how it went. And I feel it's an honor to my mother.
Right.
And then my
course.
second book, Connecting Caregivers, Answers to the Questions You Didn't Know You Needed to Ask. I had 18 professionals write the book with me. So each one wrote a chapter on their expertise. And then I follow with a heartfelt story because that's my gig.
Right.
I love the flow of that book, by the way.
Yeah,
I
do you?
love the flow
I'm
of
glad.
that book. You did a great job on that book.
Yeah.
I love
So
the way it reads.
my second book is dedicated to my stepmother, who lives in New York City, who I'll be coming to see in a couple of weeks. She lives in Greenwich Village.
Oh wow.
What a place to be.
You're going to be so hip.
It's so much fun.
Oh, you
It
better
is.
get a cool coat.
And you can just stand on
Right?
the corner and be entertained.
There you go.
I get my
man.
pizza, my bagels, the whole deal.
Oh, we're
Oh, that's
jealous.
going to be, I love New York.
Yes.
Oh, I love New York. She lives right on the corner of 5th and 9th. I mean, there's always something. Columbus Circle's right down the block.
Uh-huh.
You go there or whatever. So and she's just a fabulous, fabulous stepmother. She took care of my dad for 10 years. When he was confined to a bed, and my dad was 6'2", and she's 4'11".
Oh,
Wow.
And my
Yes.
dad never had a bed sore, nothing, anything. And I would go there to visit them. I would go out at night for a walk or whatever, and I would come back, and Heidi'd be drinking a little champagne. My dad did a tiny bit of Jack Daniels, and they'd be sitting there reminiscing about the wonderful life they had.
Aw.
Not like that I'm stuck in this bed and I can only look out the window.
Right.
And my dad had a series of strokes, so he couldn't speak anymore. And I always say my dad's middle name should have been Jack Daniels because he did a lot of business at the bars in Manhattan.
Oh boy.
So when he had his strokes, because he was in the printing business, he had all his jokes printed on business cards, and he would hand them out everywhere he went.
Oh,
Oh, I
So
like that.
everybody wanted him to
amazing.
be their patient.
Right.
Everybody wanted to help him. And it was I feel you Josie Jones is an homage to both of my parents because my mother's name was Josie. So it was really very interesting.
That's where the jokester side comes from.
Well, she's a jokester. So my mother wanted to go to Ireland. Now my mother was not Irish. My father was Irish. They were divorced. She wants to go to Ireland. Okay, so I take her to Ireland. And this is my mother's humor. So we're sitting like with some locals in a restaurant having a nice little time.
Of course.
And she tells them, "I'm only Irish by injection." And then she had this middle finger that was crooked. And And I'd be taking her, I took her everywhere with me, business networking groups, this and that. And I go, Ma, this is like a more serious group that we're going today. Please, no finger. Please don't be doing the finger thing. Okay, Linda. 15 minutes later, she's doing the finger thing. I'm sitting next to one of my girlfriends. I go, I can't believe she's doing that. She goes, my mother has the same finger.
No.
We got to be friends. There's a picture in my book of the two crooked finger sisters.
No, man.
Yeah.
That's
awesome. That's how my mother's humor was. My mother used to wear like a Mickey Mouse sweatshirt and say, did you notice his glands are swollen today? Like that kind of stuff. So it's just kind of fun, It's
of course.
And then, I write a lot. My family, their biggest issue when I die is them going through my written word if they choose to. But that's going to be the biggest thing. But I found a diary recently, and I was reading over it. My mother always said she would never move to Florida. No way would she move here. It was hot. She hated it, blah, blah, blah. And so I'm at the store with her one day, and I said, so why did you move to Florida? You told me you hated here so much and everything. And she looked at me and she said, because out of all the kids, you make me laugh the most. You take care of me. And that's like, okay, I'm doing Josie. After I read that.
That's amazing.
I'm like, okay, I'm doing Josie. So, yeah, you never know what your journey is going to lead you, or what's going to happen. All right. One other thing I wanted to ask you about is, do you take Medicaid?
We do.
I've just been noticing some conversation about that.
Yeah, this comes up a lot with the insurances and different memory cares and kind of the way they work. And, when the insurance will cover a lot of dementias that come through, they'll get physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy. And mainly a lot of that is because we get them so late.
Yeah.
A lot of times is now we're correcting time, right? So that's what the insurance will cover. And then we have an in-house doctor. So like Medicare and all the insurance will cover that. Now Medicaid, you get a waiver with Medicaid for a certain amount of money every month.
Okay.
And then what any kind of memory care area will do is they'll take that amount of money and then they would deduct that from what the living would be. The other thing we work with too is aid and attendance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
A lot of veterans, they don't
even know about it.
They don't know.
Yeah.
It's like, if you served in wartime and you don't know what aid and attendance is, call me. I'm at Arden Courts at Largo, and I will explain it to you.
Yeah.
I'll give you the number of the expert, but you are missing out. If you're military, you served in wartime, and you're not getting this. You need to get
even
it.
after your loved one passes away, if he was a vet, me as a spouse,
Yeah.
I'll get $1,400 in home health care one day if I need it. And I might need that one day.
And
Yeah,
you
of
would.
course.
We're all going to
Definitely.
need it one
But
day.
people don't know that they're
They
entitled to
don't know.
anything.
They don't know, and find out, And, another thing too is with the insurance is the paperwork.
Yeah.
A lot of people haven't gotten an attorney. It's overwhelming.
Yeah.
And that's another good thing about being part of a peer support group or a support group is that you can talk to other families that have been through it.
Oh, yeah.
And they can recommend people and
they're
say,
like,
this
who's
one
a
does
good
this.
attorney? Who's a good neurologist?
Yeah.
This is what we hear all the time.
It's so true, right?
Or
This
like,
is what
don't
we
go
do.
to that guy, or
Yeah.
whatever.
Or this is why I like this. Or this is
Yeah.
why I use an attorney. This is why I use this group, and it helps you get these ideas because
But
you're right.
Don't wait too long for anything.
No.
Don't wait too long to get your papers in order. Don't wait too long to go to a memory care community if it's going to be necessary.
Yeah.
Don't wait too long to call hospice because too many people don't get the help and don't get the comfort. When my husband was on hospice, they weren't just taking care of my husband. They were taking care of me.
Of course.
And this was during COVID. And I can remember like the nurse would come and she'd take all his vitals and she says, I think we need to take yours too, Linda. And it just made me feel so good that somebody was caring about me too.
Yeah.
Of course.
And it just was wonderful. But now it's time we are here from our wonderful partners. So don't go away. We'll be right back on Connecting Caregivers Radio.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Choosing the right chiropractor is an important choice to make. Located in Seminole, the Alexander Spine Center team is trained on the latest chiropractic treatments and technologies. At Alexander Spine Center, you'll find chiropractic and physical therapy care that is safe, effective, and a natural approach to pain and other health-related issues. Chiropractic unlocks your body's potential and natural healing process to ensure your life is a healthy life. We treat clients from the womb to the tomb. Call 727-397-3000 for a free consultation today or visit our website at www.alexanderspinecenter.com.
They take good care of me twice a week. So check them out.
Arden Courts is not just a place to live. It's a place to call home. Residential living combined with quality caregiving. This is the philosophy behind Arden Courts. Communities created exclusively for individuals with Alzheimer's disease and related dementia who would benefit from a safe and structured environment. For additional information about any of the unique services Arden Courts provides, call 888-478-2410 to locate a community nearest you. Inquire about our educational seminars, resource library, or support groups, or simply feel free to ask questions you may have about Alzheimer's and related dementias. At Arden Courts, we know, we understand, and we can help because memory care is all we do. Remember, call 888-478-2410 for additional information about any of the unique services Arden Courts provides.
We believe the power of the human body and mind can do amazing things, and that tapping into that power, not just tricking it with a temporary disguise, is possible. Superpatch technology uses a special pattern and vibrotactile technology to help you go from feeling blah to hurrah. Now, once the Superpatch is in contact with your skin, it triggers a neutral response in the brainstem that helps you tackle your daily problems head on. Whether you're struggling with pain, balance, stress, or focus, we have a solution that might be right for you. With Superpatch's 30-day money-back guarantee, you have nothing to lose and everything to gain.
Hi, this is Linda Burhans, the gal who cares for the caregivers. I started using the Liberty Patch over 3 years ago. I used to be a tripper, but since wearing the Liberty Patch, I haven't tripped once. The Liberty Patch is proven to reduce the risk of falling by up to 8 times. And as we all know, if you prevent the fall, you prevent the call. Don't wait until it's too late. Preventative solutions are the answer.
Superpatch does not claim to diagnose, treat, or cure illness. Superpatch is FDA registered. To receive 25% off your first order, go to sticktoit.info. That's sticktoit.info and learn more.
This is the Tan Talk Radio
And
Network.
we're back. So, Tracie, what's the last thing you want our caregivers to hear from you today?
I think for me is when you're thinking about Arden Courts and you're thinking about memory care and you're thinking about working with Tracie Schumm, I really want you to think that we're building you a new community. So you might never move into us, but we're just going to help you get where you need to be and get you a new community. So just don't be afraid to call us and reach out. My cell is 727-383-0367. That's 727-383-0367. You can call that number 24 hours a day. But that's why we're here. We just want people, if they don't have a community, that will help them build.
And maybe if you know somebody that you think they need some help, maybe you can go together with them as a friend. Maybe you can say, let's go together. Let's go have some lunch and let's go check this place out. I had one woman in one of my groups and they wanted her first, she finally went to adult daycare. Then it was time for her to go to a community and they were afraid to tell her, but she was my buddy, Mama Rose. So I told her, one of my girlfriends wants to move her mom into this place and she lives out of state. So we have to go check out the food. Can you go with me and check out the food? Oh, yes. She goes, this place is pretty nice. I would live here. And before you know it,
Yeah.
she was living there. So sometimes we just got to do that little dance.
Therapeutic civic.
Yeah.
And what's the last thing you want our listeners to hear, Paige?
Definitely we'll probably be, ask for help early. And like Tracie said, we want to be a community that helps you build your own community. We're not only here for our residents, but definitely the family members. I think that, we have a great group of family members that they help with all our events. They're helpful with, any of our new families moving in. They've done individual to individual, like peer support. So I think that's really important because we're building a home for the residents, but we want to make it a home that the family, loves to come and spend their time with as well. Because when we have a good partnership between the two of us, you give the great care.
Yeah.
And I always tell our families, thank you for your partnership while we're caring for mom or dad, because the only way we know them best is from how you know them.
Look at how hard it was during COVID.
Exactly.
When you didn't have those family members able to come in and help out.
Exactly.
It changed everything.
Right. Because you lean on them as much as they lean on us,
Yeah.
To provide that good care and have great communication and do all those things, So, we text, all of my families text me. I text them pictures of their loved ones so that they're more comfortable throughout the day.
Who's with my
Exactly. And they call me at night if they're having a problem. I remember, when we evacuated for the hurricane, I had a family member who took her loved one from our facility with her up to Tallahassee. And she called me at, 1:00 in the morning and she was like, what do I do? I don't know how you do this, So we sat on the phone for an hour and I walked her through everything. Here's the medication. Give her this medication now at this time,
Right.
Or try this. Mom likes this type of food or this type of snack, and she's really involved anyways in the facility. But, we are not, we are here for them to lean on, you know.
Thank you so much for being with us today,
Oh,
both
thank
of you.
you.
We got some events to talk about. What do you got coming up?
All right. First Thursday of each month from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. You can come to Arden Courts at Largo for a support group.
Let me keep that.
Group. That's yours to keep. And then I don't have a flyer for the next one, but Bernadette Holman, anyone that's ever worked with Arden Courts knows Bernadette. She is our boots on the ground.
Yes, she is.
We're really lucky to have her, and she is going to start doing a support group at Roots Promise on the third
that's so
Thursday. I know, from 2 to 3. Call her. This one's going to fill up quickly. Her number is 727-692-9117. And I believe she's going to feed you. Well, she is now. So her number is 727-692-9117. So that's my two big
Okay, great. There's a new memory cafe at the Seminole Recreation Center. It's the second and fourth Wednesday of each month. You can RSVP at 391-8345. My support group at Arden Courts in Seminole is the second Friday of each month. Please come. And then you have a dementia. So that's one you just gave me.
Yeah.
Okay. And there was one other thing I wanted to.
I have a talk
Dr.
coming up.
Bernstein.
Oh, what's he doing?
Yeah. Dr. Bernstein is going to be at Arden Courts in Palm Harbor on March 13th. The Power of Fly. He's been part of my previous seminars and on the show a lot. So you can RSVP to Marianne at 771-1600. Go to Connecting Caregivers. Go to lindabeerhands.com and nominate a caregiver. It takes you 3 minutes to fill out the form. Every single person that gets nominated receives a gift from me. And then once a quarter, we pick out one main winner, just randomly, because they're all winners to us. And you get a gift basket with respite care and a massage and a facial and some Amazon cards and stuff like that. So please do it because your caregivers need to know that they're appreciated. Thanks so much for tuning in this week. My granddaughter, Skylar Lurch, will be hosting next week while I'm in Las Vegas, but I will see you the week later. Remember, God loves you all the time, and have a delicious day.